Here we have the first stream after Kent's Genesis Baptist Church YouTube channel got taken down. Um, I've only watched the beginning of this where he mentions the banning. Haven't seen the rest of it. It's only 10 minutes, so I figured it'd be something to just do a quick enough reaction to. Certainly better than his, 30 and 40-minute diatribes. But yeah, let's see where this takes us.
Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. One more freezing night, January 23rd. They took our YouTube channel down today. If it didn't tell us why,
Yes, they did, Kent. When your channel's terminated, you always get an explanation. It may not go into exact detail on the exact thing you said or may have done per se, but it explains the terms of service violation. In your case, we're very certain it was ban evasion, given the prevalence that Emma Thorne doing her relatively recent video on you would have brought to prevalence with which it would have brought you to the attention of a large group of people who normally wouldn't follow your idiocy.
just appealed it. We'll see why. But we're going to put more emphasis on Rumble than anything else now. So
He says that, and yet they've already set up yet another one of Kent's random side channels as streaming. It was just streaming the typical Saturday Pastor Meister garbage this morning, and last night streamed his Friday stream. So, I know Kent doesn't understand any of this stuff, but the people under him are enabling this stuff, are still doing this stuff on his behalf. So he's still responsible, and if he were a decent person, he would just accept the ban or try to honestly work within YouTube's guidelines moving forward. But of course, he'll never do that. Not that being banned, ban evasion is kind of something you can't really work around, but I'm sure there's ways to make things work. That's neither here nor there, though.
and if you like our shows, you record them someplace off site. So
Oh, don't worry. I've got a friend who's recording everything you upload. Don't you worry, Kent. Your stuff's getting archived. Of course, if you and your team were smarter, y'all would archive that stuff yourself. But given you go through tech people like you do wives, that's probably a little hard to keep up a consistent schema for that.
so that when we need them, we can all get them all back. Okay. We still need a good tech guy here to come do all this stuff for us. So we're on Brighton and TikTok and
Brighteon. It's Brighteon. Why you do not understand that is beyond me. You are illiterate, Kent. You have to be. Which is interesting given you talk about reading the Bible all the time, but you can't read basic statements, basic words that may be a little contrived, but you should be able to parse that pretty well. But no, we're talking about Kent Hovind, the man who can't do a damn thing right, except fuck up his life.
Facebook and all that stuff. So tonight, January 23rd, evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religious cult in the history of mankind. Prove me wrong. Only
People have every day of your life, Kent. You just go nuh-uh and then play in your sandpit.
text comments. We got too many morons want to go on to other topics. It's none of their business. So
Yeah, it kind of is. A lot of the stuff we know about you, we wouldn't necessarily know if you didn't make such a big deal out of everything that happens to you. That's the interesting thing about the way you operate, is that, like the egomaniac you are, you think everyone needs to know about all your drama. They don't. But you put it out there anyway, which gets people curious, gets them looking into stuff, and suddenly they discover more dirt as they keep digging. And then, when you have an open mic and people want to bring up these things, you cry foul. Because all you ever want to talk about is the evolution debate. The evolution religion is the dumbest, most dangerous religious cult, Hovind. Because you can't handle a discussion on any other subject, especially one that involves you directly. You always want to play the, oh, let's talk about the subject game. But simultaneously, all you do is bring up your own life, bring up attacks on the lives of others. you do very little discussion on the subject beyond running your script, and that's just to hear yourself bloviating. So get over it, Kent. You run a call-in show, people are going to call in with stuff. And this kind of annoys me. Not that people were calling in and trolling you, right, rightfully so, but the fact that I still really wanted to call in yesterday or Thursday and ask about the whole rock thing. And did the rock just float along with them like the Eye of Janthier? Or did it leave a massive river where 15,000 metric tons of water would have had to have flown out every single day to satiate the water requirements of the people and their livestock? I hate that without calling you directly, I'm probably never going to get that, and I would rather have had that conversation be recorded online. Because it would have just been a beautiful moment of outright insanity that I would have just loved to have had in my portfolio of interesting interactions and exchanges. But whatever case, Kent, maybe you should realize no one cares about you, your feelings, or your precious holy war against actual science. Maybe one day you'll finally realize, if still a distorted view of it, that you're a lol cow, and that's all you're ever going to be. You're irrelevant, old man. Get over it.
Just text your comments in, and we'll filter through first to see if you're smart enough to get on. Here we are.
And there goes the insults. He's talking about morons calling in, talking about stuff that's none of their business, but wants to insult everybody. Which is it, Kent? Is it fair play? You can talk about them, but they can't talk about you, or what's the deal? Because it's got to be one or the other. You can't have it both ways, Kent. Of course, that's all you ever want is everything both ways. Hovind.
December 23rd, January 23rd. I did a show last night, Whack an Atheist with Forrest Velkai, and had some comments on there. Let's see.
Yeah, that are all gone now. Hovind lost his channel. Hovind.
Sounds like someone is afraid to debate Kent. Yeah, I agree. He should be.
Let me say this for the 1,000th time. Online debates don't mean a goddamn thing. They just don't, Kent. It's theater, at best. Otherwise, functionally irrelevant, in all practicality irrelevant. It's just things some people do, mostly to just amuse themselves, I think, at this stage. Just for the fun of the experience, which sadly usually winds up to be more frustrating than anything else. Not because you're so good. Far from it, because you're such a terrible debater. That you don't actually engage with others. That you just want it as an opportunity to use somebody else and their identity, whatever following they may have, to continue to run your script. And to, of course, cry victory every time things are over, even if you run away cowering. Because that's what your sycophantic audience is going to agree with anyway. They don't care to hear any actual information, any actual science. As you don't either.
He's wrong. He's on the wrong side. I would not want to get into a debate where I had to defend the position that elephants are orange. I don't think I'd want to do that. And I don't think these guys want to.
All right. How about you get into a position to defend that your deity exists? Put up or shut up, old man. Oh, wait, you won't do that either.
To defend the position they came from a rock. Because they do believe that. Let's see. I agree.
Every time you go, because they do believe that, is just an admission that you know that that's not what the science says, and that you're lying. Just keep on, Kent. You're as transparent as a sheet of glass. Granted, this is a sheet of glass that has shit smeared on it. That shit being you. But still, you're transparent, buddy. Also, note that Dino Lamp is not on, and we still have Kent in picture-in-picture. I almost forgot to bring up that it's still not fixed.
Agree with Kent. Coward. Just confront the problems. Yeah, you atheist, come on. There is no evidence for your religion. None.
Not a religion, and there are literally mountains of evidence for evolutionary theory. This has been explained to you ad nauseum. You're too stupid to understand it. Shut the fuck up, Kent.
Admit it. Get a new religion. Look up the line. Forrest doesn't do 2 hour debates. You can call in and debate there for a bit. Nah, we do a total debate, just him and me. His channel, my channel, neutral channel, fine.
Kent, since again you can't read, look up The Line. The Line being a YouTube channel that runs call-in programs similar to how the Atheist Experience and the Atheist Community of Austin do. Forrest has stated on there that he doesn't do one-on-one debates for 2 hours. That's not his thing. If you were wishing to have such a discussion with him, you would need to call into The Line when he is hosting and go on and propose your little discussion, which is the most it will be, is a discussion. You won't ever do such because you want everyone to come to you because you're desperate for the attention. You're desperate to make it seem like Kent Hovind is in demand, when that's just simply not the case. Something I've noticed is that your number of debates have gone down tremendously. You ain't had one in a while. Probably because everyone's just plain tired of you. And at this stage, everyone has relegated you to just lolcow status. Because let's face it, everyone's torn you apart in one facet or another, if not completely, as Aronra did. Going through the Lies in the Textbook series, he decimated every one of your arguments. All the key principles. Anything else that wasn't in Lies in the Textbook is simply some conjecture you have, or something that is still tangentially related to the accused lies in the textbooks. So as it stands, you have been completely debunked multiple times over, to a point where there's no point in doing such. And I just even do these videos for fun, for the chance to articulate myself, for the chance to do some real-time deep thinking, and for the chance to share some stuff that other people seem to enjoy. So I do want to thank you for continuing to provide laughs, but I'm laughing at you, not with you.
I can see why he doesn't do 1 versus 1. Oh, I guess that's one-on-one 2 hour debates. Yeah, he's wrong. Let's see.
No, Kent, debates aren't the be-all, end-all of everything. Again, you're literally behaving like the high school bully that's just like thinks a fight determines everything. Except you want to do it in what seems like some educational, some professional standard. Oh, debate me then. It doesn't mean anything. Get that through your head.
The video misrepresents evolution by conflating it with the origin of the universe and life. I went over this, athletic avenger, whatever you are. You have to have all 6 of those stages or you don't have a coherent theory. You have to start with the Big Bang. Where did matter, space, and time come from? It is part of the theory.
No, it isn't, Kent, because once again, you are not the arbiter of what is and isn't part of scientific theory, how scientific modeling works, how any of this works. You are not the arbiter of it. So once again, shut up, old man.
We covered that many times on here, so we're trying to weasel.
And you're wrong every fucking time.
Out of it. You want to start with living things. No, sorry, you don't get that jump start.
Yeah, you do. There are other scientific fields that handle origin of the planet, origins of the universe, origins of stars, origins of life. Those are all their own, independent, yet still, by virtue of being actual aspects of reality, related facets of science. But evolution deals with the genetic change of populations over time, already existing biological populations. That is where it starts. You don't need to understand how quarks and leptons work in atoms to be an electrician. You don't need to understand the principles of sound wave compression to put together a stereo system. You just need to know the information and work within the framework of what's already established to get the stuff done. In the case of evolution, granted, doing things like, putting electrical equipment together, just, connecting parts for the instructions, versus, deep scientific fields are two very different things, but the analogy works insofar as you only need to work within the confines of what you need to. You don't need to understand how every little intricate part necessarily works to get the basic thing done. In the case of evolution, we don't need intrinsically to know how life got started or how this planet came to be to discuss what happens and clearly happens in already extant life. Some of that information might help, and certainly has, but it's not critical to the concept. You cannot abstract those things. You cannot compartmentalize those things. And of course, that's intentional because you want to equate everything into a religion and create a false dichotomy of. Here's a false dichotomy. False classification of everything as a religion. We'll call it that. It's too early for me to be dealing with your BS, especially when I got a live stream later. Let's continue.
Let's see. It falsely separates microevolution, change within species, from macroevolution, the formation of new species, denying the accumulation of small changes over time.
Once again, Kent, your entire argument boils down to, as far as the micro and macroevolution thing, which I despise those terms, it's just evolution, is saying you can walk a foot, but you can't walk a mile. When, yeah, you can. That's how they add up. Each change is like another step adding up.
Idiot Avenger, they don't add
Ooh, there he goes. Who's doing the ad hom now, Hovind?
up. It's not seen. It's not science. You can imagine that it happens. These little variations, they happen. Dogs, big dogs, little dogs, I was going to say dumb dogs and smart dogs, but maybe so. And they're still dog. It doesn't change to anything else. It never has, never been seen. You believe it. I understand you believe it. Great. I admire your faith. But don't call it science. It's not part of science. Let's see.
Except it is, Kent. Except we do observe. Not in the way you describe it, because that would be silly. But we observe speciation. Examples have been told to you. They've been explained in detail. You're just lying. Which is about all you ever do.
Someone that got a fake degree in non-scientific subject from a fake university doesn't understand science. What a shock.
Oh, let's watch him get mad. Let's see if Hovind's face gets red, because he gets so pissed when you bring up his crappy degree.
Are you talking about Forrest? I don't know. If you don't like my degree, call me Kent, call me Bubba, call me Hey You.
Once again, Kent, and I repeat myself in the event this may be somebody's first time watching my content so they know where I stand on a lot of these things. The fact remains you put Dr. Kent Hovind in everything you do. That's your brand. That's your identity online. And putting doctor in front of it gives a feeling of accreditation, a feeling of value, of significance to you as a person with an opinion on something. To that end, given that the doctorate is an absolute joke, we do take issue with that. It's not about us calling you doctor, which we're not going to do, because you haven't earned the title. But that isn't the crux of the issue. The issue is the false air of authority it brings. And we will continue to contest that until you're long gone. Because it remains a subtle but key factor in the way you paint yourself as an expert on everything when you know jack diddly about anything.
At least if somebody went all the way through a accredited university and came out believing they're related to a potato and they came from a rock, I don't respect their degree much either, okay?
Even though the people who engineered the technology you're using for this stream have accredited degrees, the people who saved your life after a snake bite had accredited degrees, or were using science that was done by people with, such degrees. It's just, this is the whole thing. Science is wrong, except when I can use it to my advantage. Oh, the degree doesn't matter, except it matters enough for me to put it on everything. But anyone else who's got a degree, and if they think something's stupid, their degree's worthless. But my degree's totally cool, even though I believe in absolute idiocy. Okay, Kent. You do you. But don't call it science, Hovind.
Let's see. There's some genetic drift. It drifts this way and this way and this way, but it doesn't jump to a new kind. Clearly, Kent has no idea what genetic drift is. Well, Tyler, you have no idea what you're talking about. The genetic code of a dog kind can be drifted if everybody decides they want Chihuahuas for a while. It can drift over to smaller. Then, oh, everybody wants a Great Dane. But it's still going to be a dog. It doesn't change to any new kind.
Again, because of monophyly, it will always be a quote-unquote dog, canine, canis familiaris, what have you, will be part of its legacy. You look at everything only in terms of extant species. You don't look back at the extinct species, predecessor species. You refuse to, hence your rejection of the fossil record. You refuse to realize that we have the clear back traces of these morphologies changing, and that does mean something, and it means a lot more than even you can understand, let alone what you'll acknowledge and admit. That sounds like a personal problem, Kent, and you need to get over that. You need to realize you're wrong. That's simple. Maybe if you were to admit that, some of us would respect you. Maybe we would work to make these twilight years of your life less stressful. But instead, you continue to behave the way you do, to the people you do, in the way you do, and continue to be a science-denying moron, bloviating constantly, full of himself to the point of, I don't even understand how anyone can have as inflated an ego as you do. So we're just going to keep on doing what we do, Kent. We're going to continue to argue against you tooth and nail, point out every flaw you have, point out everything wrong that you do, that you consciously do. And, when we feel the urge, also rip into your same tired old 3-decade-long running script of bullshit to remind people that everything about you is a farce.
Fine, you guys are dreaming. Admit it. It's a religion. Let's see. Faye, you do not know how to debate anything. You have never demonstrated the validity of literally anything you say.
Just this way Kent reads is kind of pathetic. Like, I'm sorry to focus on it, but he just kind of stumps through like a child reading does. He can't just look at this, stop for a second, take it in, and say, from Faye Bilogus, you do not know how to debate anything. You have never demonstrated the validity of literally anything you say. And then respond that way. People call Kent charismatic, and he can be charismatic in an awkward way, but he is not charismatic.
Faye,
He is not charismatic functionally. Fundamentally, he's not. He's just weird, very awkward, very stilted, and I should know. I'm awkward and stilted too, but at least I try. He hasn't been like this. Before prison, he used to be a little more charismatic, so this could easily be age catching up with him. But I've also never heard him react to such unplanned reading in any of his pre-prison content. Only post-prison do we see him interacting with people online in such a way. So we don't really have something to compare it to. Otherwise, he's just running his script in the older videos, where he's just got a little more energy because, it was 20, 30 years ago.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Why don't you let's call in our show here, 855 Big Dino, extension, what are you, 4? 4. And say, I want to schedule a time to show everybody how stupid Kent is. Go ahead.
Shh. Faye doesn't need to do that. They can do it themselves. They don't need to interact with you. See, that's the funny thing, is that doing these reaction contents in the same way you do Whack an Atheist, me deciding to do Whack a Hovind, and just turning it into this side hustle career for myself, I don't need to interact with you directly. You provide plenty of daily content to react to, and there's always going to be something to say, something to comment on, something to react to with, something weird, or just an example of you just running the same stuff you always do. I mean, someone wants to show how dumb you are. They just have to do a reaction to your content. That's all I'm saying.
But book them. Remember that. Faye, if Faye calls in, book them, okay? Kim.
Yes, again, because everything is settled by internet debates on standing for truth. Come on, Kent.
Would Jesus speak to non-believers like you do? I believe he calls us to be the light. Yeah, and the salt. Salt irritates, you know.
Can you get through the entire statement? I need to explain something to you about English, Kent. Alright. A sentence is only over when you reach the punctuation mark. So you have to read the entire sentence and then you're open to comment, because then you have read and understood, hopefully understood, the complete idea. This is something 5-year-olds understand, Kent. Not that they can read very well, but they understand the structure of sentences. I just don't understand. You're supposed to be so great, so perfect, such a skilled person, and yet you're this incompetent. And some would say it's mean to be attacking a 72-year-old man for this. But this is Kent Hovind we're talking about. This man has the biggest ego since Bono of U2. So no, it's not mean.
And light exposes the imperfect. Some people run from the light because they know it's going to, show how bad they are. When you
Looking in the mirror much there, Kent?
refer to people by any other things besides their
I mean, the more I say that, let's really think about this. As all of us have done these channels bringing attention to Kent Hovind, we are putting light onto the Kent Hovind subject. He has gotten more and more stressed, more and more crazy. He hates it. It's all he can seem to think about. It's always his focus. That, and of course, trying to debunk the evolution religion, Hovind. So, Kent, you really should take a look in the mirror on that, because we are light being exposed onto you and the seedy world that you've built for yourself. The cult of Dinosaur Adventureland. Hanging out with people like Chris Jones and Brady Byram, and just all the horrible stories that have come out of that place. Remember, Kent, your whole family hates you. There's a reason for that.
name that puts you in a level rise above it, sir. Well, Kim, I completely understand, and I've studied this carefully. I want badly to be like Jesus. Jesus said, ye fools.
You think you are, Jesus, Kent. Shut up.
And blind. Whether is greater, the gold or the temple? Huh? You fools and blind. You fools. Did not he that made that which is without make that which is within? He said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all the prophets. Well, why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. You're of your father the devil. Was he speaking nice to them? Calling them fools, calling them demonic? Let's see. Jesus said, there, go call your husband and come here. She said, I don't have a husband. He said, thou hast well said. Thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. Living.
He has had 4 wives, and yet, for some reason, he's still alone, Hovind.
With somebody she's not married to. Was that nice of Jesus to do that? Calling her an adulterer? Yeah. Let's see. In the book of 1 Kings, chapter 18, Elijah and the prophets of Baal.
Here's Kent literally excusing being a jerk ass because, hey, Jesus was a jerk sometimes, so it's cool for me to be. Because, again, being an asshole for Jesus is A-okay. Lying for Jesus is A-okay. Not giving a flying fuck about anything for Jesus is A-okay. Because that's how the world works, Kent, is just raw anarchy.
They took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice nor any that answered, and they leaped upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon, Elijah mocked them. He's mocking these unbelievers? And said, cry aloud, for he's a god. Either he's talking or pursuing or in a journey, or maybe he's sleeping, and you got to wake him up. He's making fun of their God, isn't he? I make fun of evolution all the time. It's stupid, real stupid. They cried aloud and cut themselves. Oh, wow. So they invented rock music. The worshippers of Baal did. Did you know that? They're dancing around singing, "Come on, Baal, light my fire." And
I apologize for having to expose you all to yet another one of Kent's boomer jokes.
it didn't work, okay? If I were attacking Hitler's death camps to rescue the Jews, I would not have a lot of love or kind words for those responsible for the suffering.
Here we go. Godwin's law just right out the door. You can't resist it, can you, Kent? And I understand. It's a fascinating period of history, a terrifying one in this particular aspect. But World War II was a very fascinating point in history. But you don't need to bring it up every single video you do. Just like I don't need to bring up Guild Wars. And I don't. Except when I feel the urge to. Which apparently is a lot less than you feel the need to bring up everyone's favorite failed Austrian painter. And of course, for clarification, I say that sarcastically. It's more of a joke on the fact that Kent seems to love to bring the person up all the time. That being said, Kent, yes, I would agree. Were I to be liberating those camps, and if I were to find Schutzstaffel and the like still there, I would not be very nice to them either. That doesn't justify what you do, because at this point you have now just compared people who believe in evolution to the very, very, very bad German government of the 30s and 40s. That's not cool, Kent. That's really not cool. You're not endearing anybody by making that comparison. I'm going to quote Cotton Hill on this one, and from the lovely piece of animation that is King of the Hill, when he and Topsy go to, what's the guy's name, Smitty? I think. Either way, the old Pops' house, I think. They called him Pops. I forget his name. They go, and the weird dude Luann had as roommates was there, and it's like, "Get off me, you Nazi!" And Cotton and Topsy go, "Who are you calling a Nazi?" Who are you calling a Nazi, Kent? Because let me tell you, them's fighting words. You never, ever call me a Nazi. I care more about that time period in history than you've ever cared about anything in your life. More for the events that happened in that time period than you could ever care about anything. So don't you dare try to call me or any of my friends a Nazi.
I understand why our soldiers did what they did in many cases. I understand. In my 50 years of ministry, I've seen thousands of lives devastated by the teachings of these scoffers.
Really? Please explain this devastation that was felt by understanding basic science. Go on, I'll wait.
They're destroying the faith of young kids in there. Yes, I don't have much sympathy for them. Jesus said, "Whoso shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he were drowned in the depth of the sea." See, Jesus said, "My brethren, be not many masters, knowing we shall receive the greater condemnation." You people that are teaching others about evolution, you're in real serious trouble when you stand before God. A, you're teaching something that's a lie. You're teaching something that's stupid. It's not scientific.
Except it's absolute fact. And it is irrelevant to the God question. All it does is rule out your idea of creationism. It is entirely possible that there is a deity out there who set things in motion a particular way. I don't think it's very likely, but it's not absolutely impossible. The stories written in your book, however, are, because they do not match with reality. Vast majority of them, I should say. Some stuff's a little there, but I mean, none of the supernatural garbage.
And you think you're real smart. I'm sorry. It's one of the dumbest and most dangerous religions ever. Proverbs says, smite the scorner, and the simple will beware. Well, that's not very nice to smite him, is it? Huh.
Ignoring that it calls other people simple. Attack the smart person who rejects this stuff so that all the dumb people who do won't think against it. You realize what that says, right, Kent? Because that's what it says. The person who can see through our bullshit, take them out. All the idiots who follow blindly, they won't question it because they're idiots. Yeah, it's amazing how many times you find little things like this in the Bible that religious people will bring up. That you get these slight passages that are like the people who wrote it admitting, yeah, we're playing you all for chumps. It's hilarious.
When the scorner is punished, you're supposed to punish him? Cast out the scorner, throw him out of the room. They took one bullock and said, oh, Baal, hear us. And Elijah mocked him. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. You're like the whited sepulchres. Wow. Here's Jesus calling them hypocrites and graves. Without, you appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness.
Wow, okay. And Dracula told Richter Belmont, what is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk, have at you. What's your point, Kent? Oh, right, those events actually happened in Castlevania because I saw them happen. In fact, I may go back and revisit that beautiful piece of entertainment software again here soon. Because I do love Castlevania Symphony of the Night so very, very much. That is more true to me than the words in that musty old tome that you're obsessed with. Because honestly, the Alucard quote, while we also know who wrote it, I could, presuming, it's been since 97, hopefully nothing's happened to them, but in theory, the person who actually wrote that line out, I could meet them and talk with them. I can easily interact with the voice actor who delivered the line. But that line also rings far truer than anything I've seen inside of Magic Book of BS 2.0 Electric Boogaloo.
Whoa, that's not very nice, Jesus. When he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said, oh, generation of vipers. He's calling them snakes, not a Dodge car, okay? Oh, generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, he's calling them snakes and evil? It's not very nice. You serpents, you generation of vipers. Wow. Oh, generation of vipers. They said, get thee out and depart, for Herod will kill thee. And Jesus said to them, go ye tell that fox. He's calling the King Herod a fox?
He's calling King Herod a fox. Maybe he wanted his pirate treasure, if you know what I mean. Maybe he meant that kind of fox.
Not very nice, Jesus. Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, you do always resist the Holy Ghost. Wow.
No, I totally accept Space Ghost into my life. That's the true Holy Ghost. Space Ghost, coast to coast. You get Brack, you get some Zorak, you get some Moltar in the distance. Hell yeah. Everything's good, baby.
Oh, full of all subtlety, you sneak around. All mischief, you child of the devil, the enemy of all righteousness. Wilt thou not cease to pervert the ways of God?
You might want to think back on that one, Kent. You're the one who talks about animal anatomy with such fervor that it begs questioning of your interests. We've all heard the accusations of your search history. Just saying.
All through the Bible, God calls people fools, brutish, simple, perverse, scorners, wicked, stiff-necked, uncircumcised in heart, serpents, generation of vipers, full of all subtlety and mischief, child of the devil, thou enemy of all righteousness. I'm just trying to be like
That's great. I don't care.
my Heavenly Father. Call a spade a spade.
So you're acknowledging that your deity is a straight-up jerk. Good to know.
Evolution is stupid. Real stupid. Okay? All right, any questions?
Kent Hovind is stupid. Real stupid.
Questions or comments, brother? None.
Well, there's one here. What happened to Genesis Baptist Church YouTube channel? It got taken down, dummy.
Just ask about what happened to the Genesis Baptist YouTube channel.
We don't know. They took it down.
You know exactly what happened. You know what was done. Your email will explain that. Also, once again, I must draw the comparison to the concept of hell and you saying that God doesn't send people to hell, the people send themselves. You took down your YouTube channel. You got it taken down by virtue of it existing because it counts as ban evasion. Looks like your little disclaimer didn't work, did it, Kent?
Because they can't handle the truth, I guess. I don't know.
Or you were violating their terms of service, and as a service provider, they reserve the right to prohibit access to their services and took action on that right, as they rightfully should have, and I hope they continue to do on the additional channels you have that you since started streaming on yet again, because you insist on perpetual ban evasion. You just cannot get over the fact that YouTube is your only real reach at this stage, and you fucked around and found out that YouTube isn't going to play with you or others of your ilk.
See, the atheists will get together and say, hey, let's all complain at the same time, because you can't have open debate. You're a coward. That's why.
No, there is no debate, first off. It's a false, I'm not going to give you the validity of saying that the topic is even worth such discussion as to require a debate. It's not. Evolution is a scientific fact. The science is settled. You're crying foul because it doesn't match with your magic book of fairy tales means bug all to me. Or anyone else with any sense. No, Kent, it's a matter of holding you to some kind of standard. Because that's something you seem to have lacked your entire life, is actually being held accountable for anything, save for when the IRS was finally able to get you on the taxes, and you couldn't weasel your way out of that.
Okay, so we're going to put more emphasis on Rumble and the other ones. Let's see, get back up here. Home, 4, enter. Rumble, Brighton, TikTok, Facebook, Odyssey, and hopefully YouTube put it back up. Hope they do, but they've decided to censor things, and okay.
It's not censorship, Kent. They just don't want you on there. Get over it.
They're not going to get my business anyway.
What business? What fucking business, Kent? YouTube probably gets more out of me than they ever have out of you.
All right, that's it. Any other ones?
Let me check. Here's one.
Calling someone a fox a sarcastic, backhanded compliment? Well, I guess to a woman it might be, but no.
That's it, Doc.
So if you know anybody who watches our channels, and now they're going to wonder what happened to YouTube, call them up, say, hey, Jimmy, George, Peter, whatever, go to Rumble until they get it fixed. And if they don't ever get it fixed, stay on Rumble. We'll do that more from now on. Okay, that's it.
And then the next day, they're making sure to pump their crap out onto YouTube. This is Thursday's video, and literally Friday's video uploaded on another channel that is Kent Hovind specific. Because of course it is. I mean, it's just beautiful. They can't stay away. But that's just how things go. It's just how things are when you're Kent Hovind. You claw desperately to everything you possibly can. Because when you've got nothing left, that's what you're going to do. Alright, that's the end of that. Hopefully this was entertaining. Just wanted to take a stab at this one again in the old style. It's been a while since I did a more traditional video. It was a shorter one, so yeah. Got the chance to have some monologues in there. Tonight, if you're watching this when it's freshly uploaded, tonight is the DVD number 5 stream. I'm going to try to get myself amped up for that. We'll see where it goes. Otherwise, as I yawn, because I always seem to start yawning randomly. Again, thank you all so much for watching, for always watching, for being, well, not here. This is a pre-recorded video, but I guess for being here. You're awesome. In case you forgot how YouTube works, hitting like, commenting, all that jazz helps out. If you're not subscribed, consider it. I do a lot of this kind of stuff. I also want to branch out into other things. So if you like my style, you like what I have to say, definitely stick around because I have a lot to say about a lot of things. That being said, much love to everyone. I will catch y'all next time.